Hi, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Story Time with Tasha. It is your lucky day because it is actually going to be a story. I know. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I had to dig in my archives to come up with some stories because I'm pretty sure you guys were kind of sick of me talking about perspective and my issues with this, and it's all a bunch of societal things, so it really doesn't matter. And I try not to get too deep and serious with a lot of it because y'all sensitive. so so this story actually takes place back in 2009, 10ish, right? I'm not disclosing my age, so don't try to figure it out. Anyway, so this is when Twitter and Instagram had just made a come in. They had just came out. I mean, it was lit. It was fucking lit. And I had myself a nice group of followers on both. And I made a couple of Instagram pages, but this one was my first at that time. And me and my old best friend, we was little mixy girls. We was always in the mix. This is when flyer parties was a thing. If you didn't get handed a flyer either in your hands or through Twitter or whatever, or get tagged in it on Facebook or whatever, you didn't know what was up. So this is when flyer parties was the shit. I remember Oceana. I never went to Seabreeze because that was, I think that party was for 16 to 18 year olds. And my mom was not trying to have me go out at 16 to no nightclub. But it was Oceana, Club After Dark. What? And this, we're talking about Brooklyn too. So we was little mixy girls. You know what I mean? We was definitely hood famous, low key hood famous. And, so yeah, so this is when, Twitter and Instagram got real popular and whatnot. And me and her, we were in the mix on that Twitter community because everyone knew everybody because it had just came out. So even though people were making their profiles and had a large number of followers, the majority of people that knew each other followed each other. So it was a whole community for us. Everyone knew everybody. I miss those days. That's when things were a lot simpler too. And we was drinking quite a bit, to be underage, but that's none of nobody's business. Anyway, so I start to get pursued by this guy. I would say his name, and y'all know I'm quick to say somebody's name, but he's pretty popular. Well, I won't say popular. He's pretty well known, and it's not my fear that he knows this is about him. I just don't want to put too much of his business out there, because of how well known he is. So I won't say his name, but I'll just say it starts with an M, and I think you guys might be able to go from there. Anyway, yeah. So I start getting pursued by this guy, and we start talking and we're hanging out and all this good shit. And I wasn't looking to be his girlfriend or anything like that. I don't think I was. I don't think I wanted any of that, because when the whole situation transpired, I wasn't too heartbroken over it. I don't think I was heartbroken at all. I think it was more disappointed than anything. So yeah, so it was just honestly, it's kind of vague, my memory about it, but the most important details are the ones that are gonna shape this entire story. So we had this thing where he worked in Lower Manhattan and he lived in Manhattan. So let me just make something clear. If a nigga tell you he live in Manhattan, 80% of the time it is the projects, okay? Now, I didn't know any better because I was 17, 18. I, didn't know my ass from my ankles. I was still wet behind the ears. I was just getting out in the dating scene. You know what I mean? Because a lot of my interactions was just sneaking over to a boy's house or something like that. You know what I mean? So I was just actually getting out there in the dating field and whatnot. So, he was like, oh yeah, he lives in Manhattan. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You work in Manhattan, you live in Manhattan. Okay, you got your shit together. And I think he was 23 or 24. I can't really remember. And, we'll just say both those ages. And, because I was 17, 18. So we'll say both those ages too. So we had this thing where I would meet him at his job in Lower Manhattan. We may or may not get something to eat, and then we go back to his house and hang out. You know what I mean? So that was the plan. And I think that was only during the week too, because like my parents weren't home, so I could like actually go out and do stuff and whatnot. I don't know. I used to sneak around and do some things, but then other things I didn't have to, which is weird. But yeah, so that's how our dating was going. So where do I go from here? Oh yeah, so this day in particular is kind of like the story grappler or whatever you want to call it, story grabber. I'm like, what? So I meet him at his job and we take a cab to his house. I think the other occasions we walked because it was nice, but this day he just wanted to take a cab. And I was like, all right, no problem. First time in a yellow cab. I'm feeling fancy, you know. And we get to his project complex or whatever. I was going to call it an apartment complex, but like, no, because where I lived in Brooklyn was an apartment complex. They were just the projects. So I get out the car. So we get out the car and he's like, oh, do me a favor. Can you go to the store and get me, you know, a bar of soap? And I was like, okay, we're both out here right now. Why can't we go together? Like, this is the projects. And I'm not bougie, but I'm not from the fucking projects. Like, I'm not. So, hello? He's like, oh, you know, just do it real quick. And I was like, but we're here together already. Why can't we just go to the store together? And he's like, I got to clean up the house. Like, I got to clean up my room or whatever. And I was like, fine. So I go and I get what he asked for, 2 bars of Irish Spring. And I'm walking back and I'm texting him, whatever. And I'm like, okay, so I'm here now. Like, let me in. He's like, give me a second. I was like, it's summertime. All these little hoodlums is outside. And you got me out here waiting for you to buzz me into a project door. Like, I'm annoyed. I'm fucking annoyed. And when I get inside, like, it took him so long to open the fucking door. It really did. And I got annoyed. So I get inside and finally, you know, I'm sitting in his bedroom. And he's like, oh, you're not going to lay down? No, bitch. You had me walk through the fucking projects by myself. I'm not from here. You don't do stuff like that. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed eating my food. And we're talking and shit. And it's a good thing I was mad at him because what's about to happen next, it would have been 10 times worse if I had been laying down. So, oh my God. I hate bitches. So I'm sitting down, eating my food. We're talking, chopping it up. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, like when I walked in, I saw his mom, said hi to his mom, saw his sister, said hi to her. And I don't know if it's a fucking Spanish thing or what, but them bitches was rude. I think the mom was like, you know, but like the sister didn't say anything. And I was like, you know, I'm just trying to be respectful. I don't know if it's a fucking Spanish thing or what, but like, I was like, okay, it is what it is. It's fine. Like, whatever. So I'm eating my food and shit. And we're chopping it up. And all of a sudden, his bedroom door swings open. Boom. And I'm sitting there stuck. And it's like this little 5'4" brown skinned girl just like standing there. And she's like, what are you doing? And I look at him. And I look at her. And I look back at him. And I look at her. And she's like, is this what we do? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm looking at him. Like, my whole body shifted at this point. Because I'm like, what you mean? What's she talking about? She's like, oh, what, like, is this what we do? And he's like, oh, that's just my homegirl. I'm like, I'm so fucking confused. Now, the common sense in me is like, bitch, shut the fuck up and figure out what's going on. You can't jump out your mouth and say anything if you don't know what's going on. So I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. They going at it. And so she's like, so you gonna wrap this up? And in my head, like, I was already getting my food and shit together. But when she said that, I was like, it is time to go. So I picked up my bag, my Victoria's Secret pink bag, threw it over my shoulder and whatnot. Because I thought I was cute at that time. Threw it over my shoulder. And I walked to the door. And he's like, it's not what it looks like. And I look at him. And at that point, I'm like, so what is it? And she looks at me. And I don't know what he says, but all I know is that she fucking swings on me. She hits me. And I blacked out at that point. Like, I didn't expect it. I didn't know it was coming. In my head, I'm like, Me and this girl, we gonna team up on this ain't shit ass nigga, and we gonna tell him off and give him a piece of their mind. If that's her man, I'll let her check him. I'm gonna say my piece though, but I'm gonna let her handle it once I leave. But I'm thinking we gonna team up together. This is my thought process, because I figured women should stick together. I was wrong. I was sadly mistaken. So she swings on me, and we get the fighting. We get the fucking fighting. Now, mind you, I got bags on me. So we get the fucking fighting. And somehow we end up on his bed. And we're going at it. We're going at it. And his sister jumps in. And like everything is such a scuffle and it's going so fast. I don't even know if he's trying to break it up. I think he wasn't at some point. I don't know. I can't remember. And then all I know is that his mom came in. And I think she broke things up, but I know, like, I think his sister had, like, I know his sister had a knife, but she's, like, banging on the door, and she's like, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, obviously, the fuck, where else am I gonna go? Like, I'm not gonna stay here. The fuck I look like, idiot. And, like, I walked out of there with my head held high, but let me tell you, when I got closer to the train station, when I tell you I was fucking hysterical, I started bawling in the middle of the street. I was bawling. And it wasn't because like I cared for the guy or anything like that. It was because I have never experienced such disgusting behavior in my life. Ever. I was 17 or 18, like I said, kind of still getting out, like kind of graduating from high school, figuring my life out. Like, I didn't know this is how motherfuckers move when it comes to the dating world. That's disgusting. I was more disgusted at the fact that I found myself in that type of a situation. Like, bitch, I got class. I don't move like that. I got class. I'm not swinging on nobody, especially a female, if I think something's going on. Like, it's one thing if a bitch is well aware that you are spoken for and she still doesn't care. It's another if it's unsuspecting women being pursued by these guys who don't even claim your relationship and you want to fucking brawl with them. That's crazy to me. I will never be able to wrap my head around that. And that's why I was crying. I was like, this really just happened to me? Is this really just happened to me? Like, am I losing my mind? Like, did this really happen to me? I think I told my best friend at the time, and because she was able to find out who the girl was. Come to find out, it was his girlfriend, Sunshades. So her name ain't Sunshades, but we call her Sunshades. And the guy who this is about, he knows that we call her Sunshades, so he gonna know it's about him and her. So she finds her Instagram, come to find out, like, they were together. Like, that was his girlfriend. And I was really fucking upset about it. Like, not about the girlfriend part, but like I said, the fact that I found myself in a situation so disgusting. Like, that was deplorable to me. It was just the most ratchet, just, like, I mean, I'm not bougie, but I'm not like that either. Like, no. So yeah, so I'm like crying. Even like when I got on the train, like this lady and her daughter, I was like still crying. And, you know, she came over to me, she gave me a tissue. She's like, oh, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. You'll be okay. And in the back of my head, I was like, you know, you didn't even know what the hell just happened to me. But, you know, I appreciated the comfort because I was by myself on a crowded train full of strange people, you know, and a part of me was like, I should have stayed my ass in the house today. I really should have. Did I have on a dress that day? I think I had on like a sundress that day. Anyway, I think I did. I think I had on a sundress, and that's when like moccasins was a thing. So I had on my moccasins. Anyway, so I get home and I am going ham on Twitter. I'm fucking going ham. I'm like, this nigga ain't shit. You a dirtball. Like, I'm cursing him out. And I'm tagging him and shit. And I'm also just like flooding my own timeline with shit. So he knows it's about him. And because I tagged him and we shared followers, they know it's about him. So I'm just fucking going off. And he's tagging me. He's like, Tasha, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean for this to happen. Like, please forgive me. Like, I don't, what can I do to make it up to you? This, that, and the third. Just a whole bunch of shit I ain't trying to fucking hear. Then he even goes as far as to texting me. I'm like, yo, please don't text me. We have absolutely nothing to discuss. You had a girlfriend the whole time, and you allowed me to be in a situation that was detrimental to me. Anything could have happened. I could have gotten severely fucking hurt. Some fat bitch had a knife banging on the damn door. Do you know how bad of a situation that could have been? Do you think I'm that type of girl? Like, that's the type of life I want to live? No, thank you. Not even as a friend. Not even as a friend. We can't fuck with each other like that. That's classless. And when he was like, I don't know if he was trying to like explain himself. He's like, oh, we're not together. She was just there because like my sister was there and they're still friends and all this shit. And I was like, there's no, I don't care. There's no way you can rationalize how it got to the point that it did. You knew some shit was up. The moment you told me, can you go to the store for me and, you know, get me a bar of soap? You knew something was up when you told me that. But rather than being like, you know what, I'm going to have to send you home, you allowed me to walk into a situation that could have ended a lot worse than it did. And he was like, I didn't know she was going to call her over. He's like apologizing and then coming up with the rationale. Take responsibility for the fact that you are fucking with a bitch that moves like that. Don't bring no other girls into your life until you're dead with that situation. Like I said to you guys earlier, I was not trying to pursue anything with him, but I damn sure wasn't going to after that. Damn sure. So his apologies went in one ear and out the other. And like I said, I wasn't hurt about, you know, him, like losing him, because it wasn't a fucking loss, to be honest. I was just hurt at how the situation played out. Like, as women, I would never put my hands on another woman in a situation like that unless it was one that required me to. That was not a requirement. I don't know if she felt threatened because I was standing next to her and I'm taller than her. I don't know what her issue was, but I didn't expect that to happen. I was on my way out the door and he said one too many things that had me like, okay, you ain't asking the right questions, girl. So what the fuck is it then? What is it? And it went from that. And I will never, like, I recently forgave him. When I say recently, I mean like, well, I already had forgiven him, but he wanted to hear me say it for his own, I guess, for his own spiritual reasons or whatnot. He wanted me to actually say it to him. I told him, I was like, you know, I'm over the whole situation. There's no reason for me to, you don't have to keep apologizing. You don't have to ask me what you could do to fix it. I'm done with it. And that completely severed the ties of our relationship, or whatever you want to call it, for the last 10 years. And, well, 8, 10 years, whatever, 8 or 9, whatever you want to fucking call it. And I swear to you guys, for those last 8 to 10 years, he has hit me up at every occasion that he could to ask me how I'm doing and say that he misses me and tell me that he wants me to forgive him and he wants to be friends again. All this fucking hoopla. He has made it his business to do that at every opportunity he got. A couple years after that situation, I had to delete my Twitter and Instagram because I had an ex that like was harassing me severely. And, you know, I had to go off the grid. And even when I remade all those profiles, like, he would still find a way to keep in contact with me and all this shit. And so, yeah, so after that whole evening goes and his fake ass apologies and him, like, you know, he started flooding his own timeline with, oh my God, how can I let this happen? I feel like such an asshole, this, that, and the third. No, you shouldn't feel like one. You are one. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. And like a couple weeks later, like I said to you guys, I was not contacting him at all, but it was like his MO to reach out to me. And he's like, we were texting, he was texting me that night. And I was like, I don't care about you or the situation anymore. I am over it. This is like a couple months after it. I was like, I don't care. You know, it is what it is. I'm over it. There's no reason for us to talk, you know? We can't be friends because we were never friends. And we're definitely not going back to what it is that we had, because that's a dead deal. Like, that shit is done. So I don't, like, there's nothing we need to really talk about. And, like, that was the night before. I go to sleep, stop answering his shit. And it's like 7 a.m. I wake up and getting ready for work. And I get this text message. Like, I wake up to the text message and it's like, oh, you really want to get your ass beat again. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? Sunshades. Sunshades. Bitch won't let it go. Sunshades. And at the time, like I said, I didn't have his number saved because I wasn't fucking with him. So I really had to scroll through the messages to be like, who the fuck is this? And who are they threatening? And what? I'm quick to call the police. So I was like, who the fuck is this? And then it hits me. Okay, Sunshades has his phone. So if Sunshades got your phone, that means somehow she was in your home. And if she was in your home, that means she was in your room. Like, don't play with me. I'm not stupid. I was not born yesterday. He gave me a whole spiel about how they're not together and how they're still, like, him and his sister are friends, and that's why she was there. The whole bitch got your phone. She got your whole phone. Like, not even, like, because, you know, Apple at the time, I think you were still able to, like, you can iMessage on... If you have a Mac, you can iMessage on a Mac as well as like on your phone. So it's not even like somebody could say, you know, she could say, oh yeah, no, I logged in through his Mac or whatever like that because he didn't have one. No, the bitch had his fucking phone. And when she said that to me, I was like, oh, this is Sunshades. I was like, what is it? What do you want? And she's like, oh, so you really not gonna learn your lesson, huh? You need to get that ass beat again. And I'm like, let me explain something to you, girl. Had I known, like, first of all, do you think any girl wants to walk into a situation where she has to fight? I don't think so. This face is a little bit too cute for that. So I don't think so. I was like, second of all, had I known that he was with somebody, you or whoever the fuck, it could have been Mary Magdalene. I don't care. If he was with somebody, I most certainly would not have reciprocated any type of energy. Let's just make that very clear. He obviously lied to you. He obviously lied to me. So you need to be really directing your anger towards this person that keeps making you look stupid. She's like, you know what? You're right. I don't know why like girls fight over like ain't shit ass niggas. And in my head, I was like, I wasn't trying to fight you. I would never fight over a nigga. So like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. Like you were fighting over somebody, not me. I was fighting to defend myself. Big difference. Big motherfucking difference. And, you know, she apologized and all this shit. And I was like, it's cool. Like, you know, women do dumb stuff all the time for people that they, you know, think that they're in love with and all this shit. Like, it's okay. Shit happens. You know, so I forgave her and her shit. But then I think like a couple months later, as I said to you guys before, he would still be hitting me up. He would still want to talk to me. And I guess she felt some type of way because his communication never ceased with me. Grant you, it is not fucking reciprocated, bitch. You need to pump your brakes. Like, I'm not giving him that same energy and attention. So what you need to do is start cursing him the fuck out. She had, like, wrote me on Twitter and was like, did she write me on Twitter? Yeah, she wrote me on Twitter. She tagged me. She was like, oh, this bitch really wants to get it again. And I was like, you're over here fighting over a nigga that don't respect you. You look stupid, Sunshades. You look dumb. And she really, like, she was going off. I don't know how she found my page. Well, we're like Inspector Gadget, so of course. She's like going off, oh, this bitch will get fucked up again, this, that, and the third. Like, you over here trying to sleep with people's boyfriends. And I was like, oh my God. He didn't claim you, bitch. And he refuses to, obviously, because, I mean, it's very, very clear. So I'm like, if you want to be fighting the fucking air, because I'm not about to fight over him. Like, maybe Michael B. Jordan, but not him. He's like a 5, a 6 if I'm being generous. So he just kept going on and on and on. And even my best friend at the time, because I mean, we could text each other, but she like wrote me on Twitter. She was like, why are you going back and forth with her? Like, she's obviously stupid. Stop arguing with somebody so dumb. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And I left it at that. I just let her go on and on and on. Then she started tagging my friend and shit, and, you know, saying shit about her glasses. Like, girl, let me tell you something, Sunshades. You are 5'5", you are 5'4", or however tall you are, of nothing but average beauty. And when I say average, I mean, like, nothing too cute. Nothing too cute. So you need to take it down a few notches, even now. Anyway, so, you know, she's going back and forth with all of us about something that is so minute. It was like, girl, you need to be talking to your husband or whoever the fuck he is to you. Go tag him in this shit. I don't want him. Your man keeps coming to me and I'm shutting it down. So I don't know how many ways I don't know how many languages I could tell you. I don't know. Like, your insecurity is out of this fucking world. So I think at that point, I don't know if I blocked her or what, but I just stopped answering. Like, my friend stopped answering. My friend started arguing with her because the bitch said something to her. And I was like, we just started laughing at her. Like, you're arguing with two girls that are 17, 18. You're in your 20s. You're arguing with us about a nigga that none of us want, that none of us desire. Like, there is no, You look dumb. You really do look stupid. So we let her go on and on and on. And, you know, we laughed. Every time she said something stupid, we were cracking the fuck up. Manny decides he's going to disappear. Oops, said his name. Decides he's going to disappear off the face of fucking Twitter. He was going back and forth with everybody. Then all of a sudden, no sign of him. The nigga went ghost. So I'm like, all right, okay. But as I said to you guys, I peeped game and I saw what was up. And it wasn't up until, like, I let the whole situation go. I let it all go. But he just couldn't seem to, like, let it go himself. So he kept asking me every couple months, you know, oh, how you doing? I'm fucking fine. There's nothing to talk about. Oh, when are you going to forgive me? I'm sorry. I'm over it. Like, there's nothing to forgive. We're fine. I'm good. Just leave me the fuck alone. That's it. Oh, I just want to be friends with you. Why can't we just be friends? This, that, and the third. Yada, yada, yada. It wasn't up until, like, very, very recently that I forgave him. Like, I actually had to tell him that I forgave him. Like, I was over it. Like, the fact that I'm answering your messages clearly says that I'm over it. But I was like, you're forgiven. You're forgiven. Let it go now. Yeah. As I said to you guys before, it had nothing to do with the guy. Like, I could give two shits about him. It was about how the girl started moving. It really, like, she really, she did some damage. She did some fucking damage to me mentally, because it's like, I have obviously trust issues. And the other thing is, like, I don't trust women to be on the same page with other women. We're always in competition to some degree. And I don't trust that if I stand next to a woman, that she won't stab me in the back. Which is sad to say, because as women, we're supposed to stick together, right? Or at least that's what you fucking empowerment groups are preaching. I don't think any of y'all really believe what you're saying, but I guess there's power in numbers. I don't know, but like, I find it hard to trust other women, and not with, you know, the betrayal and all that stuff. I find it hard to trust that we will have each other's back. And this is just one small occurrence. This is just one small situation that I'm using as a reference. But the truth is, we're all ultimately against one another to some degree, and it's not necessary. There's always some sort of competition, and it's unnecessary. And it's just not fair. I think I was, like I said, I was more struck and taken aback by how it escalated the way that it did. Like, it had nothing to do with him. Like, fuck him. He created the situation, but we had full control of where it went from there. And, you know, her actions chose for it to go a different direction than I thought it would. So, there is your story time with Tasha. Let me know your opinions. Ask me questions. If you want to know details about these people, I think I got their Instagrams and Twitters and stuff. Because, you know, Inspector Gadget over here.